Try not to lose my mind. Okay, great. That's what I was looking for. How did I not lose my mind? Hi, y'all. Sorry. Oh, can I not? I'm trying to get your comments. What the heck? It's like I have seriously forgotten how to use the Facebook. Okay. Trying to get your comments. I hate that. Okay. Sorry. High maintenance today, y'all. Okay. How are you? Hi, friends. I'm going to be real honest. This almost didn't happen tonight. Team huddle didn't happen tonight. It just didn't happen because such is life. Oh, that is not plugged into my phone. My phone. Okay. Hi, Becky. How are you, friend? Okay. Goodness gracious. So my kids went back to school this week, y'all. That's like a whole thing. And then you know what I started doing today? Clean up my office because that makes sense. Let's be real. That's called procrastination. Also, though, sometimes you just have to do it. So, welcome to Online Steps to Success. I'm so excited that you're here. There's something weird about my voice ever since we were at reunion. I don't know what it is. I don't know why it is, but it is. And it's like a weird, raspy thing. I'm just going to go with it. What do I need to do? No, I forget how to use technology every daggone time. What is wrong with my brain? Okay, here we go. So, yeah. So first of all, I want to say, those of you that responded to the email that I sent out this week, if you're on my email list, I sent an email this week that I titled The Shift. And we're actually going to talk about that a little bit tonight. But those of you that responded to my email, thank you so much. I got so many people hit reply and told me these great, beautiful stories and things that they were dreaming about and all this stuff. So it was really cool. So I just want to say thank you. Thanks for hitting reply. I was just sending you an email with my heart and you didn't have to reply and you did. So it's cool. Anyways, I want to say that. I want to know, so it is the middle of August. We're smack dab in the middle of it. It's August 15th today. And it is such a transition of season and transition of what your business looks like from the summer to the fall. It's a huge thing, but I want to know tonight, I'd love to know, tell me where you're from. And I want to know kind of the big thing you're dreaming about. What's the next goal for you? What's the next thing that you're working towards? I would love to know. I feel like I just got bit by something. No, you can't close it. There's too much junk in front of it. It's fine. There's just junk everywhere. I'm cleaning out. Somebody said they're seeing pixels. I hope it's just you. Blair. Hey, thanks for saying you love that email. I appreciate it. Okay. Y'all aren't telling me your things, or it's just really delayed. I want to know where you're from and what you're dreaming about. Okay, so Christina says, Arbonne, Idaho. Is that how you say it? Okay, that's cool. Jill says, I want a hit director by next reunion. I am ready. Jill, you know what? You just look ready. I really like your profile picture. She just looks like she's ready. Oh, you guys were all seeing pixels. Okay, I think it's better. Merlinda says, I'm from Kansas City, Missouri, and I want to reach star. Jill says, I want to pay off debt. Yes, I love it when you guys share. It's the best. Hi, Jill. It's good to see you, friend. Crystal says, so Crystal's from Iowa, and she says, I'm dreaming about leaving my full-time job and working from home. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Hi, Jamie. Debbie is from Morris, Illinois, and says, I am shooting for superstar. I love it. Chelsea's from Ohio, but currently in Kentucky. Well, hi from Kentucky. Or hi, I'm not in Kentucky, so I can't say hi from Kentucky, can I? No. Margaret says, from Waco. Shout out to Waco. She's paying off debt and hitting director. Haley is from Fort Murray, dreaming about a big future for, and she didn't fill it out, but I'm thinking she's going to say for her kiddos. There it is. It was in a second comment. She got excited and hit enter too fast. Oh, I love it. Danielle says she wants to earn a top 150 spot in that trip. I think that's a pretty big dream and an awesome one. Y'all are awesome. Awesome. Okay, so I think Brian's gonna join me in a minute. I don't know. Maybe if you're lucky, we'll see. Because you guys really like it when he's here. And you give him a good boost of confidence because somebody messaged and said, oh wait, I'm gonna think of who it was. No, I'm not gonna think. Somebody messaged and said she was watching with her significant other, and Brian said something about how you can still help your wife in her business and not lose your man card. And she said that really helps coming from a guy with a beard, a bearded guy. So you made him feel real good about his beard. So y'all make him feel really good. Okay, so I want to talk to you a little bit about what does it look like to make a shift. And what I mean by, well, maybe I should introduce myself. Hi, I'm glad you're here. My name is Allison Dalkey. I don't know, keep showing up by myself in my office, talking to all you beautiful people once a week. And my biggest goal always, every time we go live, is to help you dream big, work really smart, and change your world and the world around you. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about dreaming big. But listen, here's the deal. And I know that some of you are there because I love it when you send me messages. I love it when you send me emails, when I get to like hear your heart, because you can only say so much in a comment, and you try. You try to tell me all the things in the comments, but I love it when you shoot me a message and tell me just kind of your heart and where you're at. And I've heard so many of you in the past 6 or 8 months talk a lot about wanting to make progress, but not like you feel stuck or you feel like you're not making progress. And this is just such the time, guys, like this change of season, which I know that, you know, it's nearing September and the pumpkins will start flying soon, right? It's still like 100 degrees in Oklahoma. But there comes this point when we have to choose to do things different if we actually want to step towards our goals. And I had a very personal experience with this last week, and I want to share a little bit about it with you. Share a little bit, yeah, whatever. I don't know, my words are jumbled. Share a little bit about that experience with you, and then talk through some of the practical things that I'm doing to make a shift that I think will really help you as well. And then I wrote that one email this week, and then I started writing like so many more already, just to kind of like talk you through the process of what it's looked like. Now you can see the floor, and it's a huge mess. That was maybe not a good shift camera angle, but I did it. Okay, so you know it's serious if I put my leg up in my chair. Chrissy always makes fun of me, but it's the truth. So what does it look like when we have a goal or we have a dream, but we aren't really making progress on it? Well, one of the biggest things I think is that so often we are not honest, completely honest about what the things that we actually want. And we're usually not honest with ourselves, not because we're afraid of what the thing is, but we're afraid of, one, how great we could be in that spot, or two, we're afraid of what could happen if it doesn't work out. So we lie to ourselves to say, I don't really want that thing because that's big and scary, right? So I'm just fine. I'm fine where I'm at. I'm fine sitting here. And then we start to live in this place of discontentment where we feel very discontent with our situation and our circumstances, but it's often our own fault because we haven't been honest with ourselves about what we want. So I'm going to do my best. I told you guys a couple weeks ago that I was just going to start showing up and speaking from my heart because that's usually what works out best. It's scarier for me to do that because it's like I thrive on a page of notes, and I don't have a page of notes. Like I don't have a step 1, 2, 3. I just really want to like honestly process through something sort of I'm walking through that I think is very applicable to a lot of you, or possibly like where your teams are at right now. So the circumstance or the situation is like, let's say you or somebody that you're mentoring or coaching or whatever has said for a long time that they want this one thing. They want to earn a trip, or they want to get a bonus, or they want to earn an award, or they want a promotion. Okay. They've said it for a long time. They've said it and said it and said it. I'm going to sneeze. Hold on. Is there another one? No. Okay. So maybe they've said it for a long time and nothing's happening. They're not making progress. So I know for me, it's really easy for me. And I've done this so many times. You know, I've maybe had a team member say like, here's what I want. Like, this is what I want to do. And I'm excited and I'm going to do it. And then they don't follow through, right? Or it doesn't happen, or there's excuses that arise. Okay. Happens all the time. The reality is we do it too. We say we're going to do something. We say we're going to, whatever, we're going to achieve this goal. We're going to do this one thing. And then something happens and we don't follow through. There's two things that I want you to think about when it comes to that. One, I think so often when what are we even going to call this? It's like lack of action. So it's like when there is lack of action towards a dream or a goal, we have to recognize that so often that has to do with fear. And I know that I talk about fear a lot, and fear is like this scary, mean, weird thing. Yes, it is. But what I want you to try to understand tonight is that fear often keeps us from being honest with ourselves. So I want you to think about, maybe this is you, or maybe this is somebody on your team, or maybe somebody that you thought who said, I'm going to join, or whatever, a million times, and they don't do it right. I want you to think about how fear plays into that scenario. So a couple things. I'm just going to, I don't know how else to tell you than to tell you my story. This has been my job for the past almost 12 years. And in full disclosure, there's so many things I could do better. There's so many ways I could be more efficient. It's one of those things that for me is a constant moving target, and that I want to constantly be better at it. I want to constantly learn more. I want to constantly push myself, okay? All of those things. But in the same breath, it's also work that has become comfortable to me. Anytime you do something for over a decade, there becomes a naturalness to it, right? There becomes this, think about it. If you taught for 10 years, like you're a school teacher, it gets a little easier every year, right? It all gets a little easier. But in that, there often becomes a level of comfort that can cause us to play it safe. And I think this is what I was trying to say a minute ago. I think sometimes when we try to play it safe, we discredit what we're actually capable of. So, for instance, I have said, and it's not a secret, I've said it here, I've said it to everyone who would listen, I have said for 2 years that I've wanted to write a book. Literally for 2 years. I think if you go on my Instagram account, like there is a day when I wrote the foreword to my kids, like a year and a half ago. Do you know how much I've written since then until last week? 0. Big fat 0. Nothing. Like nothing. Like, so it's like this big dream and this big goal, and I thought I was taking these steps towards it. And this past week, I realized very clearly that I had been doing work that was comfortable as a way to keep me from doing work that I actually felt called to. So I want you to think about that for a minute. I want you to think about where you are. And maybe it's like you're brand new. Maybe you're brand spanking new, and there is this tug and this pull in your heart and this desire, like, could I do this? Could I run a business? Could I make this thing work? Could I walk away from my full-time job? Stop it. That's not even nice. It's really, what are you doing? I was finally making sense to myself. And then you came over here.
I'm listening to what you just said so I can tell you where you were.
Right.
Okay. Can I tell you where you are?
Yeah, what was I saying before you so
So
abruptly?
you're finally like making a difference. You were finally. Like you were saying, you were doing all the things. So.
No, I don't think it. I don't think it. Wasn't it? Wasn't it? Okay, no. I think what I was trying to say is, so let's say you're brand new and you're thinking in your head like, okay, like, yeah, the goal is like one day I want to quit my full-time job. Like I want to work from home. I want to get my husband out of the job he hates. You have these like dreams and these goals. And they're there and you're saying them. Don't stop touching the desk. But you're not actually taking the action to make them happen. Because you're stuck doing something that's comfortable out of the fear of the thing that can actually move you forward. Here's what I think is, it's hard to wrap our brains around, but it's very true. We often stay comfortable. And by comfortable, I often mean we're comfortable with tension. Like we're comfortable with tension that we know that there's more. We know that we're capable of more. We know that there's something brewing inside of us, but it's easier to sit in the discomfort / comfort. So it's like comfortable. It's comfortable because it's the thing you've always done, but there's this rising discontent in you. But it's easier to sit in that than it is to actually make the shift to do the things that are going to get you towards the goal. Does that make sense? I know that some of you are there. I know that some of you have sat in this business for years and years and years, and you've made some progress and you've done some things, but you're not happy with where you're at because you have a bigger dream. But you keep sitting in the comfort of your discomfort because it's the thing you've always done, because you're afraid of what's next, or you're afraid of what it's going to take to make the shift to do what's next. Does that make sense? Okay. So how do we get through that? How do we take this tension of I'm comfortable being uncomfortable because, and not in a good way. I don't mean that in the good way when people say like, you need to be comfortable, be uncomfortable so you can get outside your comfort zone, whatever, and grow. That's not what I mean. I mean, sitting in comfortable work while you've got this rising discomfort. Does that make sense? Are you seriously sitting here listening to me and listening to me in your ear?
No.
Oh, God.
I forget that I have it. No.
Okay, well,
I have it turned down.
I mean, it's fine, but if it were me, I would be losing my ever-loving mind.
Oh, I could do it.
I know you could. That's what's crazy. That's why I legitimately asked, because I thought you might be. I don't have a step 1, 2, 3.
I did have it turned down. Sorry, we're in the Matrix. Yeah. No.
Well, they had us a long time. Shine? Okay.
Give me like a thumbs up, or I tell you what, give me a heart if you can listen to something in like one earphone and have a conversation with somebody. Because this is an argument constantly. So I'll have one AirPod in, and I'll be listening to a podcast or something, and she'll come in and be like, okay, I'll talk to you when we're done. And I'll go, babe, go ahead.
No, listen, Linda. Yesterday he had his phone and he was watching something on YouTube TV that he was also watching on the TV.
Because my little brother was playing golf and it was being televised.
I know.
And our TV Wi-Fi was acting up, so it kept pixelating.
2 sounds at one time.
So I got on YouTube TV on my phone and it was better picture, but it's a tiny little screen. So I kept the TV on in case the Wi-Fi caught up and the picture quality got better. Then I could watch it on a 60-inch TV instead of watching it on, whatever this is. So I'm getting tons of hearts. You see them. Yeah. Thank you, guys.
It was making my insides crawl.
She came in and she goes, turn one of them off. And I really hadn't even thought about it.
He didn't even know that it was annoying. I'm like, I'm going to jump out of my own skin if you do not like.
That'd be a neat trick. What if your insides are as beautiful as your outside? Let's see. No, I'm kidding.
Cannot even.
Yeah. I'm glad I'm getting some hearts because she really thinks I'm crazy. And she knows I'm not. It's my ADHD brain. I can do a few different things at one time. But speaking of ADHD, got you a little off track. So why don't you go ahead?
I thought you had something to say about what I was saying, but no, you had something to say.
No, I did. But What she means by be comfortable being uncomfortable, yes. It doesn't mean you have to do the things that.
No, I'm saying don't be comfortable.
I know.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is we hear that a lot in any kind of sales, but direct sales also. Most people have the meaning or intention of like, get outside your comfort zone, go hand out 20 catalogs, go knock on doors, go do this, go do that. And those can all be good things if that's in your wheelhouse. What she means is sometimes there's things that we know we're called to do. There's that young couple from church that you know you're supposed to give $50 to. There is something like writing a book that you know you're supposed to do. It's joining a volunteer group that feeds the hungry. It's whatever it might be, but there's something out there that makes you uncomfortable just because you know you're supposed to do it.
Yeah.
But you don't, but you're scared of doing it. That's different than getting outside your comfort zone to do something, sales, talk to somebody that annoys you or whatever it might be. That's totally different. So that's what she means when she says you have to start being comfortable in that discomfort. It's walking into the things that you know you're supposed to do. And some of them are business. Some of you know you're supposed to lead your teams better. There's certain people you know you're supposed to reach out to try to see if they need help. There are tons of things that you know you're supposed to be doing. And not just because it's going to profit you, but because it helps somebody else as well.
Well, but I wasn't saying be comfortable in the discomfort. I was saying they are comfortable in the like there's discomfort because they know there's more, like that they have more to give or more to do, or like
you're saying people get comfortable
in the discomfort. That's what I'm saying. So
no,
I'm saying people get comfortable in the discomfort. That's what I was trying to explain about where I was at. I know.
I don't know what you mean by that.
Okay, I'm trying to explain it to you. Okay. So I knew that I was supposed to write this book, like this deep-seated call, desire, whatever. But I kept saying it, and it was like a goal, a dream, right? I'm saying the thing, but I wasn't doing it. But there was discontent, and I was uncomfortable because I knew I was supposed to be doing it, but I wasn't. But I got comfortable in the discomfort. It sounds like an oxymoron, but it's a thing. Does somebody tell me
Here's
what I'm saying?
The way you explain it, I get what you're trying to say.
I think it makes sense.
But it's totally different than what we teach on when we talk about being comfortable in the discomfort. You're saying
no, I know. I'm saying it's totally different.
Comfortable in the complacency.
No, I'm saying
stepping around the things that you feel like you're supposed to be doing. That's complacency. That's not discomfort.
Okay, it's discontentment.
Be comfortable in the discontent.
But no, don't be comfortable in it.
I know, but you're saying that people are comfortable in their discontent.
No, I'm saying we are. Like, right. It's so easy. That's what I'm saying.
Discontentment and discomfort are two different things. One,
okay, fair.
You want something that you don't have or aren't doing yet. The other one, you're doing it and it hurts, or you're doing it and it's uncomfortable.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Risa gets what I'm saying.
Well, no, I mean, it was a stretch, but we understood what you were saying.
You're right. I should have used the word discontent.
The only reason I wanted to change it is because that goes against, like, when we talk about being comfortable in the discomfort, that's different. Like the whole
the
Navy SEAL thing.
Yeah, when you step out, when
you get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yes, okay, I get it.
Okay.
What I was trying to say, is there's that discontentment that, like, you know you're supposed to be doing the thing. Like you've said, I'm going to promote to this level forever. And it's not happening because you've gotten comfortable being discontent. You've gotten comfortable not reaching the goal. It's still the goal, but you could care less. Like you're just sitting in it like, oh yeah, I'm going to do it one day.
Yeah. Janie said it's easier to be discontent than to actually take action that is fresh.
Yes. Praise God. That's exactly
what she was saying.
20 minutes ago. That's what I was trying.
All right.
That's what I was trying to say like 20 minutes ago. Okay.
Someone said, guys, you need time out. Oh, Becky.
Becky said, Guy said.
Oh, Guy said. I thought she was saying guys.
Yeah.
You need a time out.
Okay.
We'll be back in 5 minutes.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, okay. Tiffany said you start to ignore the discontentment, so therefore you're okay. Yeah, it's like you start to ignore the thing that you know you're actually supposed to be doing, and then you don't make progress. So the whole point of this was to say, how do you make the shift? So the email I sent out this week was called The Shift. And it literally just was talking about me having this realization that I was living in the discontent and I was just faking through it. Like, it's all good. I'm going to write a book. Or I actually even think I was saying I was writing a book, and I was not writing. Like, I wasn't doing it.
You were saying that. What was that?
Like, I was saying, like, yeah, I'm gonna write a book, or maybe I was saying I'm going to, but I wasn't. Anyways. And the same thing that you guys have been doing. Yeah, I'm gonna build my business. Like, I'm gonna get out of debt. I'm gonna build my business. But for us to do those big things, for us to reach those big goals, for us to actually step towards that, we have to do things differently. And so many of you have been doing things the same way for years. And you're expecting something to change. Nothing's going to change unless you change the way that you do something, unless you make a shift. And it's got to be, I'm going to just tell you what I think it is, and I'm going to be just fully transparent, is that I'm in the process of this right now. I'm in the process of actually stepping towards the dream, the thing I know I'm called to do and want to do that is the next thing for me. And it's scary, but I think the biggest shift starts in your mind. And it starts with being really honest about what you actually want. So there is a story in the Bible, and if you're religious or not, it's just a good story in the Bible about when Jesus meets a man on the side of the road, and his name's Bartimaeus, and he's a beggar and he's blind. And he calls out to Jesus and he says, "What do you want me to do for you?" This man is very obviously
he calls out to Jesus, and then Jesus looks to him and says,
"What do you want me to do?
What would you like me to do for you?"
And it's a question that has long haunted me for a long time, because I came to the realization that I don't know.
Well, but you're stepping 3 steps forward. So the reason she's saying this, Jesus knows what the man wants.
Oh, yeah.
It's very obvious. If you have eyes to see and you're on this deserted mountain path, it's very obvious the man's blind. It's very obvious that, he needs something. But he still asked.
Yeah.
What would you like for me to do?
What do you want me to do for you? And it's just an interesting question, because I think that we so often live without knowing what we want. And that was, for me, the first shift was, so yes, there was this desire to write a book, but it was more than that. And I hadn't been honest about the more than that part. I hadn't been honest about what do I want? And so I want to challenge you today, tonight, whatever, to really look at the thing that you've been reaching for, the dream that you have, the goal that you have, and say to yourself, what do I actually want? Because you can give me a title all day. You can tell me you're reaching towards an award or something like that. But if you can't tell me why you want it, like what it is that you actually want from that, it's going to be really hard for you to make a shift to step towards it. So I think the first step in making a shift towards actually achieving your dreams is being just boldly and bluntly honest with yourself. We set arbitrary goals sometimes that are solely inspired by what somebody else tells us is success, or what somebody else tells us is right, or the next thing. Well, I'm here to tell you tonight that I don't think that somebody else knows what you want as much as you do. It's easier to take somebody else's dream, to take what somebody else tells you is success and shoot for that, right? Because, it's just what they say that we do. And then if you don't reach it, it doesn't really matter because it's not what you wanted in the first place. So the question becomes, what do you actually want? Do you even know? A couple weeks ago, I really challenged you guys to journal. We started talking about how writing is mindfulness, how we live in a culture where we are inundated with information. I would say in a very unhealthy level, where we don't even know what we think anymore, because all we do is stare at screens. And we're so over-informed, but we're under-reflective. We don't stop and reflect. We don't know what we want. We don't know what we're thinking, because we don't take time to actually investigate those things. So I challenge you guys to write just to journal 3 pages a day. Just write. It doesn't have to be about anything. Just write. And the messages you guys sent me, like bold, like aha moments that you had, and these big ideas that came to you, and dreams that you didn't know you had from writing 3 pages, like nothing, and with no prompt. Like, our minds desperately want to lead the way. Our hearts desperately want to lead the way, but we're not letting them. We're not giving them time and space to think and be. So the biggest first step towards actually making a shift is deciding, what do you actually want? Okay.
Now on that, I'll speak into that for a second. So because when she was talking initially, I was looking at all of the goals. Like, I want to hit director, I want to earn the incentive trip, I want to do all these things. Those are all great goals, and there's nothing wrong with those. However, if your goal is just the title, or your goal is the event, or whatever it might be, you need to kind of, what she's talking about is you need to do some reflection and some thinking through why that is the goal. So we did this with a group of people. We've done this multiple times with a group of people, but one time that really stands out, Allie will do this thing where, and it's kind of a joke if you've ever been to our house or you've ever been to a retreat or something, like, she asks you why until she makes you cry, kind of thing. And so someone would say, my goal is to be director. She'd go, why? And I'd go, well, I'm going to make more money. I've
also been known to say things like that stuff.
She has done that. So bring your A game when she asks you what you want.
Because that's not a goal. Like, I know that
it's not, but in the world we live in, like she said, we're an under-reflective people these days. And so a lot of times we think our goal has to be this thing that is hung out in front of us like a carrot. And it's not a bad thing that's, the way most companies do promotions and everything else, it's all based on title. But the title itself cannot be the goal. The title's not going to be on your tombstone, right? So she'll just start asking why and why and why. And I remember a woman that wanted to be a director. Why do you want to be a director? I want to make more money. Why do you want to make more money? So my husband's not stressed out at work. Okay, we're getting there. Why is he stressed out at work? Because we are trying to put our daughter in a private school. Why are you trying to put your daughter in private school? Because she goes to public school and she gets bullied. So what was wrong besides the bullying? What was wrong? And then it got all the way to the point where she's bawling because she's talking about how her daughter comes home from school saying she wants to hurt herself. Everybody hates her, all of these things. And so you go 10 or 12 steps back and you realize the director thing doesn't have anything to do with the title. She thinks the title is what gets her daughter into a better place to live a better life. But it's not the title. It's all of the things that the title brings. And so that's where now when she left our house.
But what I want to say about that, can you remember what you were going to say?
Let me say it. So when she left our house, though, instead of her dream board having a big thing that said director on it, her dream board had a picture of her daughter with a beaming smile. It had a picture of the school. So that's something she can look to every day and say, that's why I get up.
Yeah.
That's why I do what I do. Because that title is just a word. And that's where you've got it. The title can be the thing, but it's not the why. And so that's where you've got to really break it down and figure out why. Now you say your thing.
Sure, it feels really low. I have those 2 things out from the summer. Oh my God, can you get them for me? I'm going to show them to Haley. And a lot of you. I knew I wasn't going to remember. Oh, what I was going to say. So when we say, like, this is the goal that I have, this is the dream, right? I want to write the book. You want to be a director. It's those, yes, those are goals, but there's something deeper behind that. And when she sat at the table and we got to the bottom of it, she didn't even know that was why. Like, deep down somewhere, yes, but she had never voiced it. And to voice it, to say it out loud, to say why you want to do the thing, makes it so much more powerful. And so that's why sometimes when you guys tell me, like, this is the goal, this is what I'm working towards, this is what I'm dreaming about, and I get frustrated with you because I need it to be more. I need it to go deeper. Because if it doesn't, we're not going to make the shift to get there. Okay? Does that make sense? So the first step is to really decide what you want. Why do you want it? That's the first step in making a shift. The second step, and this is what's happened to me in the past week, is I had to identify what my biggest obstacle was going to be, and I had to figure out how to beat it. So for me, my biggest obstacle is the voice in my head that asks me the stupidest questions. The thing I hear it say the most is, who do you think you are? And it like makes me crazy even thinking about it. It's the thing that haunts me. It's the thing that makes me want to step out of doing retreats, out of showing up live, out of like 100 million things. Who do you think you are? And I knew that would be my biggest obstacle. I knew it would. So I identified it. And then I made a plan. And this was my plan. I wrote down, do you see this giant piece of paper? It's like half of the poster board. I wrote down the lie or like the thing that I knew I would hear over and over again. It's just, who do you think you are, at the top of this? And then I answered it with truth about who I am. I'll probably share all of the words. This is something
tattooed on my back.
This is something I'm going to share in
like that.
our email list in the coming weeks, because I want to talk more about like this shift. But look, 2 pages, 2 giant pages, and I just started writing. Like, that voice all the time tries to knock me down. And there are some of you that have strong inner critics that try to tell you that you are not smart enough, that you don't have what it takes, that try to put doubt in your mind. That every time you do something tries to make you feel stupid. Listen, it's going to be an obstacle for some of you. Identify it and make a plan on how to get over it. So I literally just started writing all the truth about actually who I was. And then on top of that, then I went back and I started adding scripture to it forever. So that,
you may read part of that.
It might sound funny if you read it.
It's really good.
One day I
actually took pictures of it so I could look it up if I ever needed a reminder of who she was. But I'll read you some of it. Who do you think you are? I am the daughter of the King, the Most High God. I was created in His image to do good work in this world. I was created by the Creator of the universe to create. I am a light. I speak words of life and truth. I'm not who others say I am. I am who my God says I am. My mind and my body are strong. I am not afraid. I was born to do this. My God is with me. He goes before me and behind me. He works all things for good in those who love Him and obey His commands. I am a fighter for good, peace, for purpose, for dreams. I am a child of God, a wife, a mother, a daughter, a sister, a friend. My scars have changed me. And I feel like you need to put right there, but not defined me or something. But I am not who I once was. It's okay. Well, I can keep going. It's 2.5.
You weren't reading it right, so I was not.
That's how I read it when I read it, and I thought it was really good. They like it. It's good.
That's not how I would read it.
Just read this part down to the scars, and just read it how you would. I want to hear how you read it because
I'll read what you didn't read. I'll start with my scars have changed me. I'm not who I once was. I'm a writer, a leader, a dreamer, a doer, a worshiper. I will not fear. I am more than enough because of Jesus. I am chosen, called. My gifts were made to be used to glorify God, and that's exactly what they'll do. I am free, brave, bold. I'm stronger than I think I am because my God is good and generous. He's loving. I am stubborn, but He is strong. I have a legacy to leave. I am a vessel. I am not afraid to dream big, God-sized dreams and do good work. I am able, and not because of what I've done or will do, but simply because of who my God is. I will not shrink to make other people feel comfortable in their mediocrity. I will rise, grow, take the step, jump into the void, and then I'll pull other people up with me. I am more than my circumstances. There is more ahead of me than there is behind me, and I am ready. Heaven will come to fight for me. It's time to dance, create, be the light.
That's who I am.
Yeah. So, it's better when I read it.
I feel like maybe we should make them do something like that.
I think you should do something like that.
Here's the deal. We all have an inner critic. Enneagram 1s have the strongest one. If y'all know about Enneagram. But we all have that inner critic, right? That tells us, like, who do you think you are? Why are you doing that? You're not going to make a difference.
That's stupid.
You can't be a great husband. You can't be a great wife. You're not a great kid. You're not a great student. You're not very smart. You've got all these things holding you down. Whatever the lies are. And you should just combat those with truth on paper. Write it down.
Yeah. So listen, here's the thing. The critic's a liar. And not only your critic, but the critics you're going to have online, the people who are not going to understand your big, bold dreams, people who aren't going to understand what it takes to make a shift. When you choose to put your values and your goals ahead of other things in your life, there are people who will not understand that. People who are comfortable sitting in their mediocrity will not get what you're doing. And they will criticize you just as much, if not more, than the voice inside your head sometimes. Be ready for it. Be ready for it and know what you're going to say to it. This happened in I would say in any scary thing that we have ever stepped towards, or anything that felt like a big, like, bold sort of thing to do. When we stepped into foster care, even people around us thought we were crazy. There were people who thought that that was not the best thing for our kids or our family or whatever. All sorts of things that have happened in our lives when we've made a bold step and actually made a shift, that not only the inner critic has gotten in my head, but also the outer critic, the internet and the world and the people around you who will say, what are you doing? Who do you think you are? Like, they're going to come. The voices will come, and you have to be ready to combat them. So whatever that looks like for you, but if you are ready to stop saying the things, to stop dreaming the dream, but not taking any action, it's time for you to make the shift. It's time for you to make the change. And it's going to start with you just being brutally honest. If you're not brutally honest about what you actually want, it's going to be really hard for you to make the necessary steps. Like, it's just going to be hard. Change is hard. Doing hard things is hard. And if you don't know why you're walking towards the dream, you're not going to be able to follow through with it. What do you actually want? Then, what's your biggest obstacle going to be? What's going to get in the way? Whatever it is, if it's a critic, if it's people, if it's whatever it might be, get rid of it. If you're trying to lose weight and you still have cookies in the pantry, get rid of them. Like, it's going to be the biggest obstacle. There's still ice cream in there, get rid of it. It's going to be the biggest obstacle. Like, you can't expect to keep doing the same things and something to miraculously change all of a sudden because you have this big dream. It's not going to change just because you have this big dream. It's going to change because you choose to make a shift. And listen, I'm preaching to myself right now because this is where I'm at. So you make the decision. You do the thing that needs to happen to make the change. But that's where it starts. Okay.
So while Allie's catching up on notes, when she was, oh, what? Who said that?
No, I was saying it to myself. Nobody said anything.
So when Allie was writing all this stuff out, so it was a combination of a couple things happening over a couple of days, and a message that we heard from a friend of ours that's a pastor, and then a message that he referred to us to listen to from another pastor, and all these things that led to her literally sitting down and doing this. And a couple of you are very familiar with Enneagram. Becky Boussier said she's a 2. I recommended that she go listen to the 2 song and the 2 podcast. Anyway, Asleep at Last. Write it down. Asleep at Last.
No. Sleeping at Last.
Oh, Sleeping at Last. We'll write that down because I typed it wrong. By Atlas. If you know anything about Enneagram, you know your number.
No. Sleeping at Last is the artist. Atlas is the record, essentially. And the Enneagram songs are on that record.
Look up Sleeping at Last Atlas, Enneagram 2, or whatever, you'll find it. But so I got home from doing something, and she was out in our sunroom writing all of this stuff on these big. There's multiple poster boards that she was filling out.
It's a whole process.
It was dinner time. I go in, start cooking dinner.
My shift involves lots of poster boards.
Right. So I could just see this like thing in her eyes where she was like focused. And so I just went to the kitchen, started making dinner. Dinner gets started. I employed Addie to help me distribute dinner.
Oh, get over here so I can't see your desk.
Trying to reconnect. We might have lost you guys. Let us know if you can see us.
Oh, we're back.
For sure?
No, we're not.
Okay.
Look at my face.
Dang, Wi-Fi. Look at mine. I'm surprised.
Like, oh, wouldn't that be great if Facebook would be like freezing in 3, 2, 1, and you could pose?
Yeah. Are we back? Can you hear
I
us?
think we should make that a thing. It
Can you
looks
hear
like
us?
it.
Yes, you are. LOL. We're frozen. We're okay.
We're like,
Okay.
We're fine. We're here.
So I set the table. We're big on having dinner around the table. We try to have dinner around the table 5 or 6 nights a week. Lately, our 12-year-old's been at the horse barn a lot, so sometimes she's not there, but we try to have dinner around our table multiple times a week. So I didn't even go in and try to grab her. I went in and said, hey, dinner's almost ready. And she said, okay. And man, her head was down and she was writing on her poster boards. And so I set the table and I tell the kids we can start eating. And they're like, where's mom? Because this is not normal. Mom's usually the one in the kitchen doing all the things. And I said, she's working on something, guys. And they know that she doesn't normally work at dinner time. But I just said, hey, she's like, feels like Jesus is telling her something and she needs to write it down and it's good. And so they were fine with that. And then we were basically done with dinner when you came in. But she looked like such a new person. Like she walked in, I mean, just free of chains, free of things that she had been wearing for a while. And she had written all this down. I didn't see it for a couple of days. But yeah, it was really cool. So if you need to have a moment and get away and write down who you are, which is the opposite of the voice inside your head sometimes, what they tell you are, then just take it and do it.
So I want to close tonight. I mean, this was, it was rough points. You weren't sure what I was talking about. I wasn't sure what I was talking about. It's fine. We're here for it.
It happens.
It happens. But I want to close tonight telling you a story that my therapist told me, because it's where I was at, and it's where I think many of you are. And it's when you're in that place where you've had this dream or you've had this goal, but you haven't made progress on it, even though you keep saying it, right? We know that's because you maybe don't know exactly what you want and you haven't made the shift yet. So she was telling me this story about how mama eagles get their birds out of the nest. And it's by making them so uncomfortable that they finally jump out.
When they're ready to fly, but they don't want to leave the nest because it's so comfortable, they'll start to take all of the down feathers that they put in the base of the nest that make it comfortable. They'll start just pulling them out and throwing them out. And then finally the sticks and the twigs and everything else start stabbing the eaglets so much that...
I thought that they actually pluck the feathers out of the baby birds.
No, they pull all the matting, all the base out of the nest.
I'm about to Google this.
So when they build a nest, it sticks. And if you ever Google an eagle's nest, it's amazing. It's huge. It's beautiful. But they actually pluck their own down feathers in the spring when they're losing them anyway and pad the whole nest. And so when it's time, when the eaglets are ready to fly, but they don't want to leave, because why would they leave? Their mom brings them food, drops it in their mouth. They don't need to do anything. And the mom says, nope, not doing that anymore. She pulls all the bedding out of the nest where it's literally those sharp sticks and twigs. And then finally they're moving around and they're like, oh, ouch, ooh, we don't love it. And so they finally jump out and fly. And
yeah, I told about 10 people this story this week, and it definitely involved the mama eagle plucking feathers out of the babies.
Can you imagine, like, when your kids are bad, just plucking their hairs out, like, one at a time?
I would leave.
Well, yeah, leave.
I thought that's what the story was.
Time to go to the school bus, kids. I don't want to go. I want to stay here. Oh, yeah? Okay, here we go. I'm going to pull all your hairs out until you're gone. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm glad you were here to actually tell the story, because I was going to tell it wrong. For sure.
But I've heard you tell the story, and you told it right.
Nope, I've never told it like that.
You said plucking the feathers until they leave.
Yeah, but
I thought you meant pulling the feathers out of the bottom of the nest.
I thought that Mama Eagle really pulled the feathers out of the
this
baby.
just goes to show that God can use anybody.
Praise the Lord.
Like, God calls all people.
Yeah, but he doesn't call qualified
to teach
people.
his truth. No, because the qualified people would mess it up. They'd get arrogant about it. Yeah. No.
Allison's giving like the full details.
Well, this constructed in oil and sticks. The interior is lined with grass, corn stalks, and filled with soft materials, including moss, moss, and downy feathers from the adults. Yeah, and then they plucked all the soft stuff out, and the chicks want to leave. Okay. So anyway, all that. See, I'm glad we do this, because now you know the real story.
I am glad, but it would have been more eloquent if I just could have told the story, but it's fine.
But now you know the right story.
Yeah. Anyways, so what I was saying is sometimes we have to get to the point where we're so uncomfortable in our discontentment that we have to jump. And maybe it's time for you to jump. Maybe it's time for you to make a shift. Maybe it's time for you to get out of the nest, stop dreaming about flying and fly. Like, yeah, it's going to be hard. Yeah, you're going to have to do something different. Yeah, you're going to have to challenge yourself. Yeah, you're not going to get to sit in your comfort anymore, but it's worth it. It will be worth it. And the thing that you'll have to live with if you don't is regret. And nobody wants to live with that. The what if, what could I have done? What should I have done? Why don't you just do it? I'm talking to myself. It's just time to do it. Make the shift, change your mind, decide what you actually want, and be freaking honest with yourself. And then figure out what your biggest obstacle is going to be and make a plan to fight it. It's always going to be a fight. Your journey towards influence and legacy and the thing that you were put on this earth to do will be a fight. It always will be. But you have the tools that you need to battle in that fight. So it's just time. So that's what I got. Somebody said that was part of their sermon last Sunday. That's crazy. Oh, that's hey, awesome. The other thing I want to tell you, this is the last thing. I swear. It's relevant.
Make it quick.
But not relevant. I'm good. It's relevant. I was listening to a sermon last week, and it was very interesting in that it talked about how he was talking about how there is no fruit on the top of mountains. Like, we want to be on the mountaintop. We want to be at our highest point. We want to, right? Because if you're at the top, it means you did the thing to get up there, right? Like, but that's not where the fruit is. The fruit is actually in the valley, in the place that is often hardest for us, and the thing that we trial through the most, the thing when we are often the most discontent or the most uncomfortable, because we're in the valley. Like, we're walking through something that's changing us and growing, but that's what produces fruit. And I love that. I think it's so incredibly encouraging. And so I just want to say, like, if you're in a valley, like, I don't want to say it's okay, but
just keep plowing.
Yeah. It's where
you're planting seed, and that's where the harvest is.
Yeah. So anyways. Okay.
Love you guys.
Till next week.
Thanks for showing up. Sorry we're blurry. Hopefully with the recording won't be.
Yeah.
So
nice. Okay.
See you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Now all the clicking and then
you should start saying funny